Hello and welcome to Where the Living Room Used to Be, a podcast about Rhode Island's music scene. RI5 with Joe Potenza. What is or was your favorite Rhode Island record store and why?
Okay, there's I'll give it two. Beacon Records.
Okay, yeah.
On North Main Street, at the corner of North Main Street and Cypress.
Yeah.
That was where I bought my first two records I ever bought.
Yeah.
Was Sgt. Pepper and Herb Alpert's album The Lonely Bull.
Oh wow, okay.
That's also where I bought Bitches Brew and a whole bunch of other things. The first Santana record I bought there.
Yeah.
And my father used to take me there. So that and then years later on the east side, my friend Paul Lilla's jazz store called Phoenix Records, which was on Angel Street.
Oh, okay.
Right near the Angel and Thayer. In upstairs, great jazz collection.
Wow, all right.
That would be one of the places,
When was that active? That's actually...
In the 80s.
Oh, okay. All
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I'm not too familiar with that one.
Paul is like a super knowledgeable jazz fan. He lives not far from here. And but he owned that store for a while. And
cool.
And it was a nice father-son thing because my father had just retired at that point. And I told him about that and a couple of other places I went. And then he would go and he'd pick up some things, and he'd call me up and tell me what he'd buy, what he bought that day, you know.
Yeah.
I found a couple of Joe Pass records that I didn't have, so they're good. It was great. The guy at Phoenix Records, he's a good guy. And they both have a connection to my pop actually, because he took us to Beacon Records, and then I told him about Phoenix Records.
Cool. What is your favorite drink that's tied to the state?
Favorite drink? What was the last part?
That's like your favorite, like kind of Rhode Island drink. It's kind of connected.
Oh, okay.
Dells or Awful.
Yeah, probably coffee milk.
Coffee milk.
Yeah, coffee milk. Yeah, that was like a big treat when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. I was never a big. When I was a kid, they used to call frozen lemonade. They called it slush.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
And there was a place way before Dell's that was kind of near our house, Paul's Lemonade. And my father would take us there in the summertime, and everybody else would get slush, and I would get coffee ice cream.
Yeah.
So I would have to say coffee milk. And nothing against Dell's, and there's nothing like it, like once in a while on a hot day. But I'm not a huge, fan of that kind of stuff. But the coffee milk was like a treat.
Yeah.
Because at school, when everybody got when you got to, the nuns didn't want you to buy coffee milk or chocolate milk, but if it was there and you bought it, you could get it.
Oh, okay.
They would prefer that you got white milk, but coffee milk was kind of like the cool thing. So coffee milk,
yeah. Now that you brought it up, I'm just curious. Like, what with Paul's Lemonade, was that like a precursor to Dell's? Like,
no, it was like a small storefront. I mean, when I was...
Even if it's connected, but was it that same
No,
kind of
not at all. No, it wasn't connected. It was just a local guy.
But like the product was like, were they making what Dell's is now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I guess I'm asking, like, did Dell's rip off this?
Oh, no. It was a common thing. Frozen lemonade, Dell just kind of like turned into a big thing.
Yeah.
But I mean, at that point, I'm talking about like when I was like 6, 7, 8, every place you'd go, there'd be storefronts where people opened up grocery stores and, ice cream stores or novelty stores or candy stores or bakeries or, shoe repair stores or that kind of, all these little storefronts. In every neighborhood had a bunch of them.
Yeah.
The one I grew up in, the neighborhood I grew up in had like a variety store with a soda fountain and a grocery store, and they were run by cousins.
Yeah.
Bobby Jacoby and Tony Jacoby. And then up the end of the street was the precursor to Cumberland Farms, like a small like milk type store.
Okay.
And around the corner was the cobbler, the shoe repair guy.
Yeah.
And around the corner from that was Paul's Lemonade.
Yeah.
Ice cream store, and like a small meat market over here. It was just like this little village kind of thing.
Yeah.
And every area had them. They sprung up everywhere. Tons of small, little businesses that
cool.
are, somebody's pharmacy or,
Yeah.
drugstore, that kind of thing. It was, there were just ton of them. It's understandable. The progression is easy to understand, but I grew up in that time.
That type of, yeah.
Yeah, and now I drive through my old neighborhood and I realize how small, a little village it was. It was one street with a couple of like offshoots, and everything happened in that one little area. And one street over was my paper route. And the church that we went to was on that same street, and the funeral parlor that my grandma's funeral at is right next to that. It was all in this little area, and now when I drive through there, I think, my God, what a small area. The downside of that was, I didn't see anybody different from me for a long time.
Oh,
growing up,
so insulated, and this is your world where those on the blocks.
It was. So that was a downside to it.
Yeah.
But because again, it was like late 50s, early 60s.
Yeah.
But thankfully things were still. By the time I got into high school and things were starting to change a little bit more, and you learned a little bit more.
Yeah.
But it was incredible. It was a little bubble that was great, but also very insular.
Yeah. What is your favorite place in Rhode Island?
I'd say two. Beavertail and Jamestown. That was my late sister's favorite place. And I love going there. Mm-hmm. And Chase Farm on Great Road in Lincoln.
Yeah.
The other side of Lincoln Woods.
Yep.
We used to take our dog there and walk around. And a friend of mine used the phrase once. He said, "This is what dog heaven would look like."
Yeah.
I mean, you go up in the hills,
like rolling hills,
and there's literally rolling hills, and then trees and big fields and a pond and paths, and it is exactly that. We used to take our old dog there. I can't wait to take the new one there. It's just, you walk up into those hills, and it's like, and then everybody has their dogs there, and they get off leash, and it's like this is what dog heaven would look like.
Yeah.
And it's a really nice place to be. I haven't been there in a while. Mm-hmm. I stayed away from there. I drove by there right after our dog died, and it's like I got out and stood in the parking lot, and I cried. I was like, oh man, this is Nola's. This is where we used to take Nola. But now it's like I can't wait to to go back there again with the new dog. It's a great place.
It is. Yeah. Definitely. It's picturesque. It's got, but you're kind of
big, wide open space. I love it, and the fact that they preserved it like that is, and the trails and all this stuff.
Yeah,
I love that stuff.
Dig it. What is your favorite Rhode Island pizza?
I wasn't sure about that one, but again, I have to say two. One from my youth and one from my adulthood. So Twins Pizza from my youth, because that was the place where, when we got pizza, Pop would go to Twins to pick it up.
Yeah.
And Fellini's as an adult.
Yeah.
Because you can go there after a gig and,
they're ready for you.
Yeah.
So what do you like to get there, though?
Oh, I don't, I don't like a whole lot of like toppings, but like sometimes, stuff with like the whole tomatoes, that kind of stuff.
Okay.
I love that, like that. And there's one I gotta try. I haven't tried it yet. Gino has been there, and Gino's lived in Italy, so he knows. But there's a place in South County called Pasquale's that's supposed to be like authentic Neapolitan pizza. Yeah. And you have to do it a certain way in order to be able to be called that. It's one of the few in the country that they'll like that.
Wow, okay.
And Gino said he's had the real thing in Naples, and he said this one made him weep.
Wow. Okay.
So I've got to try that.
Yeah,
Yeah, he said I wept.
Yes. All right. Cool.
So I'm due to try that one, but the other two, and because they represent two, twins. Oh, I can't help but thinking like Pop's going to get pizza. He's getting twins.
there,
All right, so we knew he was going to twins, and then just being able to go to Fellini's. That was a grown up thing to do. Now I'm an adult. I can stay out late at night and
Yep.
and
Definitely.
and it's a cool place. It's so.
Dig it. Yeah.
So it's not so much about the food as it is like the associations.
Yes.
And things.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the same thing with the record stores. So much of this goes. I'm realizing how much I miss my father now too.
Yeah. What is your favorite event that takes place in the state?
Current event or one?
It can be something that's happened in the past. It doesn't have to be music.
Well, it's still going on, and I haven't been to it in a while, but we used to go to it a lot a number of years ago, and one edition in particular was very momentous for me, which is the Newport Jazz Festival. Mm-hmm. My wife and I used to, when I wasn't working as much, doing as many gigs, a few years ago, for about 5 or 6 years in a row, we went every year. Mm-hmm. And one year we just rented a room in Newport and just went for a few days. The 50th anniversary we went.
Okay. Yeah,
where I saw like Ornette Coleman and Wayne Shorter in rapid succession. And it was also Roy Haynes' 50th birthday, 80th birthday, I should say. And he had like tons of guests like Chick Corea and Gary Burton and Pat Metheny and Jack DeJohnette and Dave Holland, and it was just and Roy Haynes is 80 years old and playing that. So but also the fact that it's still going on, the fact that it's still it's something that started in Rhode Island, and also I think it started the year I was born.
Okay, yeah.
It began the year I was born, or the year after, or something like that.
Yeah.
And I got to go to the one in 1969. Where he brought in a whole bunch of rock bands for the first time.
Oh yeah.
And like we didn't pay. There was a hill outside the fence. It wasn't where it is now.
Okay.
It was in town, and we crawled up into the hills and didn't get caught, and just like brought binoculars, but you could hear everything.
Yes. Yeah.
And I heard Led Zeppelin on their first tour of the States, and Jeff Beck with Rod Stewart played, and Herbie Hancock was on the bill. We didn't know who he was, but there was this guy. Who's this guy, Herbie Hancock? We want to hear Zeppelin.
Yeah.
But he was there, and I missed Miles. We got stuck in traffic the afternoon he was playing.
Oh, okay.
But he was playing there. Jethro Tull, when they were brand new, when they were still like a blues band.
Yeah.
Who else was that year? There was shows they would run it for 4 days and 4 nights, so afternoon and night shows for 4 days.
Yeah, okay.
And that year James Brown played, John Mayall played there, Frank Zappa's band played there in the afternoon. I missed that.
Yeah.
One whole Saturday concert was an afternoon with James Brown, so it was the whole James Brown review for an afternoon.
Wow.
And earlier on, I remember when I was younger than that, a few years before that, there was a local AM station that used to broadcast it at night.
Okay.
Live on the, so they would broadcast it live on the radio.
Yeah.
And I remember my father listening to it on summer nights, like right around 4th of July weekend was when they did it then.
Yeah.
And he'd just turn on and listen to the jazz festival. And it was just kind of there.
Yeah.
And he knew about, he'd tell me about this person, that's this person, he'd mention, make a couple of connections. But just the fact that it was there, it's like, this is in Newport right now.
Yeah, this is, yeah.
And I didn't understand it, I didn't know it, but I just knew it was a big deal, and it was just there on the radio.
Yeah.
So the fact that that's been here, and it's, it was a big, a big thing for me when I was a teenager. And for us to be able to go, as adults and just like actually sit and and listen, to see that stuff, and that it's still going on, even though I haven't been able to go in a few years. But the fact that it's still, happening,
yeah,
that's great. That's something,
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's tons of other places. That was the first one. This is where the whole concept started,
Yeah.
and developed.
Yeah.
And when I realized who played here,
Yeah.
when you see like lineups
Yes, yeah.
of this year or that year, shit,
Yeah.
I can't believe it. Like in an afternoon, and there were like 8 of these things.
Yeah.
4 afternoons and 4 night shows.
Yeah. Wow.
So the fact that that's here, and there's recordings of it, and it's like, man,
It's legendary.
and that was like, so that would be a big thing.
Definitely, yeah.
It was the idea that like something big time was happening right here, and it was actually just down the road. And then when we actually got to drive, and we're going to the place where this stuff happens,
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden, now again, I'm 13 years old at this point,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like, wow, we're really there. That's actually them playing this stuff,
Yeah.
It was that I got to see the first 3 concerts I went to were Cream, Jimi Hendrix, and Jimi Hendrix. And then the next 2 were the band.
Yeah. Wow.
So that was my introduction to live music.
Right.
And then that summer in 1969, that festival in Newport with all these other guys.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh my God. So like that was inspiring.
Yeah.
I'd come back from that, and go to school again the following, September. What did you do this summer? Well, I did this.
Yeah.
It's like, really? What the?
Yeah.
And it, it made me more anxious to get home and play.
Yeah.
Now and more motivation, more,
Yeah. Yeah. Those people are special when you can do that, or having those times.
Yeah, just to have that there, and my folks allowed us to go. It was my older brother, my older sisters, and their boyfriends, and they let me come along, and I was like 13 years old. Okay, really?
Yeah.
Okay. So we got
It all goes together though.
They could have easily said no.
Yeah, bringing a little brother along.
Yeah, no, you can't. They're not doing that. Yeah, but they did.
Yeah.
Yeah, and and they knew what was going on.
Yeah.
They weren't stupid.
Yeah.
But go ahead, take them.
Yeah.
Make sure you have them back.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Make sure you don't get lost.
Yeah.
But the Newport Jazz Festival, Jesus, fact, and we were reading about it and thinking, well, this stuff happened here. There was one year where some of the players decided that they had a beef with what was being booked, like the 2 straight ahead. So there was like people like Charles Mingus and Max Roach and a few other people like that said, they weren't booking that kind of music. They weren't really, they were kind of squeezing them out. They had their own festival at the Cliffwalk Manor.
Oh, okay.
Yep, they just had it on the lawn at the Cliffwalk Manor. And they did their own festival.
Wow, okay.
I forgot what year it was, but
I gotta check that. Yeah.
The Rebel Festival it was called.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Nice.
I forget who else, but it was like all people like that. People who were more edgy in the very early 60s,
Oh, I dig that. That's cool. Well, this has been super fun, Joe. Thanks for sharing this. Thanks for sharing even just all the history of our state. That was some great pieces that you passed along. So, thanks again, Joe. Appreciate it.
Oh, thanks for giving me the opportunity, and also just to get back to the band. Thanks for paying some attention to what we're doing.
Of course, yeah.
Because it means a lot when people pay attention, and it also helps other people find their way to us. So
yeah,
that's nice.